Operation in West Kingston has risen to 73.
For the first time since the security forces started their offensive on Monday, the press was allowed into the community. Nadine McLeod was among the journalists who went in this morning under tight security and even tighter reporting restrictions.
Briefed by the soldiers, we donned bulletproof vests and ventured into Tivoli Gardens shortly after 8. The West Kingston community was not the same. The first sight on entering was psychologically powerful, but for security reasons, we aren't allowed to show it. It was the building which once housed the offices for one of Dudus's businesses, the Presidential Clique. What was once Dudus's office is in tatters, reduced to shattered windows and broken doors. At certain sections of the tour, the fresh morning air was punctuated with a foul smell. We were given strict orders by the soldiers to follow their lead, which restricted our access. This is what we saw. Soldiers on roofs, on the ground, some visible, some not so much, an indication that Tivoli Gardens was still a battlefield. There was no sign of any bombed houses, neither did we see any burnt or rotting bodies in the streets, but we didn't see the entire community. Evidence of war? Bullet holes in walls, spent shells in every nook and cranny, and sandbags for fortification. Check out this hole in the midst of these sandbags, built for the attacker to view his opponent. And these gullies leading to other communities. Also evidence of war. These. It appears that at some point bottle bombs were being made here. We also saw these cylinders at the entrance to Tivoli. And if the physical evidence scattered around Tivoli wasn't enough, the pain etched on the faces of residents drives home the point clearly. Mostly women were out to greet us this morning. The few men we saw were clearly over 30, and they were very few. It is tense here at Tivoli Gardens, where the operation is still ongoing. As we walked through the streets of the community, the people came out to tell us their stories, one by one. Some say that they have been mistreated, others say that they weren't. The stories were conflicting.
The police and the soldier and the criminal, them what you know style us as criminal, dead. They are all Jamaican, sir. They are all Jamaican. There is gunman and thief and criminal in everywhere in the world. There is nobody down here that we are gonna say that we are all innocent. But the point is, the people them what are dead in. None of them dead in front of their mothers. None of them dead in front of their girlfriend.
Operation overall was bad, very bad. And them tell us to come out. You see, after we come out, it's like them carry 2 men in there and kill them in there and mash up in the house. The house round there now.
I'm a resident of the Tivoli Garden community, and I am not comfortable with the way the security forces are dealing with the people inside here. I believe that the people are being restrained from their constitutional rights.
Still, the stories continue. The residents say they hadn't been let out of their homes for days, so food was rationed.
Yeah, we get some of my hungry same.
Then the stories of loved ones lost in the war.
I lost my nephew! 17!
Now me hear say dog a eat the body. Dog eat her body. You understand? My big sister, she was a teacher.
And of those detained.
I have my 2 sons. My 2 sons didn't get old in the rain, and I be a disadvantage. Me see them face and mouth bust up. And how many days now I know them teeth good on a brush, or me don't know how what else I go on with them. But they are worry and stress out and a maga down. But otherwise, me don't really find a problem with the soldier them. Them nice to and everything.
From Sunday, them take my son out of my mother's house, and I know we can't know nothing. Them say they can arena well beat up, and we want to go up there, we can't get to come out. Yes,
we got the opportunity to ask the question which many won't answer. Why didn't these residents leave when they were told to do so by the police?
We never there in here. If we, the Christian, never in here, we know to come still no structure. And we have in here power belly and pray and I beg mercy. That's why the Lord bound week and we had plan for them, but we couldn't left because the Lord bound me. I said, stay. I feel so stressed. It come like say, me then down, it's like my body a shiver, be a bomb and all kind of sound me here. Me never experienced all of them and something in all my life. And people that think that everybody did the sanction and everybody, you have good people in there. Why did we leave?
Leave and nowhere! We did all, we are free! I never blame the man, we did all, we are free! The politicians, them are wicked too, they're not innocent!
To the east of this community, Coronation Market, where an unusual calm hangs. It felt strange because had it been a regular Thursday morning, Coronation Market would have been bustling with vendors and buyers negotiating the right price for ground provisions. But not today. A section of the market is burnt and the eerie silence within loudly declared that the West Kingston of yesteryear is no more. Nadine McLeod, TVJ News.
There are growing concerns this evening about the process of handling some of the 73 bodies in West Kingston. Several bodies have been taken to the Maypen Cemetery, with many residents charging that some were buried without their relatives' consent. Many family members camped outside the cemetery today, hoping to get the bodies of their loved ones for a private burial. Milton Walker reports.
With the growing death toll comes the difficult task of handling dozens of bodies from the West Kingston conflict, as well as from other parts of the city. The police told our news centre last night that several decomposing bodies were taken to the burial ground to be buried after on-the-spot postmortems were conducted. Residents said about 20 pauper coffins were taken to the cemetery yesterday, and this morning the police brought more corpses to the capital's largest cemetery. But some residents who gathered at the gates of the facility this morning complained that they wanted to see if any of the rotting bodies were their relatives.
We need the body to bury because I knew that he's not a violent youth. I don't know him as a gunman. I don't know him as anything like that.
Gladstone Wilson, his face a reflection of the grief of losing a son, stood at the gates of the Maypen Cemetery. Mr. Wilson, a deacon in his church, is relying on his faith in this his most difficult time.
We cannot ask God alone to suffer on the cross. We have to realize that killing the youth is not the answer. You cannot use fire and fight fire.
Mr. Wilson believes his son was killed on Monday after he went to visit his sick mother in Tivoli Gardens on Sunday.
It's restricted. Yeah.
This is a restricted area. We can't film.
No.
But we're told that we could come BSI.
Our news team was removed from the cemetery by the police, who stood guard while pathologists performed post-mortems. However, before the police established a presence on the scene, our news team was able to go inside the facility, where we saw at least 8 decomposing bodies in one section, and further down we could see another 5, including at least 1 woman and a child. As you enter the cemetery, the stench was overpowering. The putrid smell of rotting flesh permeated the air. We saw no burials while we were there. Later, a senior police officer told TVJ News that after post-mortems, the bodies would be placed in pauper coffins and left on the scene. However, later at a press conference, Acting Deputy Police Commissioner Glenmore Ines said the police actions involving the disposal of bodies were legal.
The cemetery has a superintendent in charge of the cemetery, and certainly the operational cemetery are in fact aware of the activity. We did indicate that the process of disposing of the bodies are in keeping with our laws.
But Gladstone Wilson continues in a desperate way to claim his 20-year-old son, Laviama's remains.
We just like to have the body because he grew up in my church at the top of the Namtown and Ream, a light of life. And we as a memory grieve.
Milton Walker, TVJ News.
The security forces provided another update on their 4-day operation at a press conference this afternoon in Kingston. Kirk Wright was there.
The police and military were able to tell us that the official number of casualties is now at 73. However, the police and military could not say how many women or children were among the dead.
As it relates to bodies that we currently have, there are 73 bodies that we have. 15, as Minister was indicated, are currently being processed for burial.
And there's doubt about whether 3 of the dead fell during or before the operation on Monday. Information Minister Darrell Vaughan says before they are buried, post-mortems will be done and each one identified. He says the Prime Minister will ensure that an investigation is done to establish whether the operation was properly conducted.
These vary from mistreatment of citizens to innocent persons being killed. The government is committed and insistent that the rights of citizens be respected and observed.